Hi, this is Rob, Reyff Designs, and for this week, I'm going to show you how to make an iron butt award for any kind of run you might want to make it for. Alright, so with this award, I started with a mannequin butt, and I've done this for the last 3 or 4 years. They're easier to manipulate, they're easier to add things to, and I'm not making a butt from scratch. So also I add things to the butt cheeks, to the top. I'll put a tramp stamp in the back, and for the award portion of it. And here, this year, I'm adding our actual kind of our bug run logo to this, and it's just a bullseye with a fly on top. With the bug run, you usually get a sticker, you put it on your bike, and whoever gets closest to the center gets an award. And this award is basically for the person who comes from the furthest point to our run. So we're out of Oklahoma City, and let's say if someone comes from Nebraska, which one year they did, they got this iron butt, and they get to take it home. The other thing with this award is probably one of the funniest awards, because most people aren't expecting it. You know, they're expecting like just a regular old plastic award. So we kind of go out of our way to make these awards fun, laughable, and we want them to make them so people will always talk about them from year after year. So here I am, I'm actually putting the bullseye, I've contoured the bullseye to the butt cheek, and I made this bullseye on my 3D printer. I got the image off of Thingiverse, and actually what it is, it's like a bullseye ring. I just enlarged it, made it bigger. That's why it has those little standoffs. But I'm going to use the standoffs later on in this to put the actual fly on. And so I use those standoffs to have the fly stand off of the bullseye. So here I am, I mixed up my glue. This glue is a 3M adhesive glue. It actually works pretty fast. This is about a 5-minute activation glue. So here I am, I put the glue on. I'm trying to make sure that fly doesn't fall off of this thing, and I'm also trying to strengthen it up in certain areas. Once this glue dries, it's rock hard, and it pretty much adheres to most things, from plastics to metal to wood and so forth. So here I am, I'm just using my putty knife, a little small screwdriver, trying to clean up all of the big messes of the glue, and I'm just trying to smooth it out so you don't just see big old glue marks everywhere. I am going to paint this later on, as you'll see this with some metal paint. That way we can patina it and make it look like it's rust. So with this, I'm just, again, cleaning up all of the messes, trying to smooth out the areas where the feet are at, trying to make sure that there's enough strength there so that this fly doesn't just pop off of there. And it also, I'm trying to make it look like it's part of the whole picture here. And so here I am, I'm checking it, make sure it's kind of going to stay there. The next part of this, I'm going to drill a hole with a drywall, a hole saw bit. And what I've done here is I've made another piece off of my 3D printer. It's a registered R. And here I am, I'm going to start cutting this with a hole saw with a drywall hole saw bit. I think it's 3.5 inches. So I do it on the side butt cheek, and I'm doing the top because I'm actually going to add concrete later on to this thing to make it like an iron butt. So here I am, going to keep on drilling through, and I'm about to pop through here. Here we go. So once that's all cleaned up, I've mounted that registered R. That's that big solid black piece there, and I'm going to glue the inside with some glue and the outside of this. So as you see, I'm just placing the glue around it. I'm trying to smooth it out so it looks like it's part of that ass, basically. So here we go. We're just going to smooth it, and then I'm going to try to clean it up and kind of just feather that glue in with a Bondo putty blade there. So with that, here I am. I'm making the tramp stamp piece. I've cut this out of aluminum, and I pre-staged my holes because later on I'm going to paint this. So I'm pre-staging 4 holes that'll fit the back of that butt or the top part of the butt, and just getting this set up. So here I am. I'm adding a little more items to this registered R. It's just the fucking portion to the R. And so I basically have printed this part off of Thingiverse also separately. It was basically a Running Man stick man, and I've cut it. Here I'm heating it up, the head part, so I can actually mold it to the butt cheek. So as it cools down, it will be molded and will fit better around where I need it at. So again, I'm just adding the 3M adhesive glue. It's my go-to. You could use probably super glue or any other type of E6000 glue, but for this application, this works good for me. So again, I'm just adding the pieces parts. I'm kind of molding each piece and just making it look like it's supposed to be there. A lot of times I'm using just a small screwdriver just to clean up the glue that's around. Then I'll use a Bondo blade to kind of smooth all the glue around. And the idea about this is when the paint goes on that you just don't see any rough edges. Again, this glue takes about 5 minutes to activate, and once it's hard, it's done. The only way you can get it off is sand it. So I'm trying to do my best. I don't have to do any of that. With the paint, it's kind of a thicker paint, so it kind of gives it a bumpy look to it, which I want for this application. You can spray it on, it's from Sculpt Nouveau, but I just like that rough brush type look. So from here, I'm adding the one last more bit. This is the leg and the little foot. I'll put it in there and basically, again, just do the same thing, kind of mold it all in there. So I've added like a little hand there and there's a star. You don't really see the R until we start painting it, but it's just there to kind of get all smoothed in there to make it look like it's all one big piece. So here we are, we're just finishing up the cleanup. I'm trying to make those pieces that we kind of put all together, 3 or 4 pieces, look like one piece. Couldn't find an image of a person kind of, giving it to somebody else. Again, this part takes a little bit of time, but the more time you take to get it right the first time, you don't have to go back 2 or 3 times to clean this up. You could use Bondo or something like that to smooth it up, but anyways, so this is the top panel that I'm making here, and this is basically going to cover up that hole that we've already drilled out with the drywall bit. So here I am, I'm just using my sander, sanding down the edges. I want this to be a tight fit so it looks like it's part of the whole piece or the whole trophy. And here I'm just taping it down. I'm just drawing a line so I know where to go. I actually kind of screwed up here because there's a plastic filling piece over that, the protection piece over that aluminum. But so I've taped it back down the back. I'm going to line it. This will help me sand it easier and faster. And I'll use my rotary sander here, and I'll use my other main sander to try to finish up sanding this. Again, I'm trying to make a tight tolerance for all this, so it looks like one big piece. Sometimes with these trophies, they take a while to put together because I just want an awesome piece for the person who's going to get it. And so I'll do a little filing here, kind of get some major of the parts off of this piece of aluminum. I'll use my other sander, 12-inch disc sander, and just kind of fine tune it. Just, takes a little bit of time to finesse this piece in there. And we're about there. Just take a little bit more off. Do some finish work. And we'll try it to fit a couple more times. I'm actually taking off the sanding burrs off of this. So the biggest thing is get all the fitment for all the pieces parts. That way when you put it all together, it's one time, one fit. You're not trying to reconfigure things. So we'll go one more time with the rotary sander. A little more with a file. Just try and get that perfect fit. As you see, I've got this sped up about 500%, and just try to speed this whole process to see where I'm at. So here I am. I finally got the pieces. Here's the tramp stamp piece. I'm just spraying it with some good old Krylon. And I painted it black because when you laser these, the aluminum pops right off of that. So here I am. Like I told you, I was going to add some concrete to the actual piece. I thought about filling this whole thing up, but that thing would have weighed a ton. So I just added a little bit, probably half a bag of concrete in this thing. I wanted some weight so when you picked it up, you're like, oh, holy cow. It wasn't just like a mannequin bare piece. So I made it kind of more sloshy, so I could just pour it in there, get her done. And just clean it up afterwards. So here I am actually adding the Sculpt Nouveau. I've actually painted it black, just with some Krylon black spray, just to help cover that beige look of the mannequin. And here I am, I'm adding the first coat of Sculpt Nouveau. And this is actually metallized paint. I'll have a description below for the Sculpt Nouveau stuff. And a great company to work with, quick delivery. I've had great success with it. So it's one of the funnest things to do is to paint these things. The one thing with using the Sculpt Nouveau on something this big is you have to do 2 or 3 layers. So here I'll use a 2-inch cheap brush just to brush it on, kind of pounce it on, kind of get an effective metal. I want a weathered look. That's the whole idea behind this at the very end of it. So here I'm outside. I've got the Iron B metal coating. I've got some black magic patina, copper rust, and some blue rust, universal patina. Those are the ones I used on this piece. So with it being outside, I've already covered this twice with the coating. And now I'm going to add the coating again because there's 2 types. There's a B and a C. If you use a C, you can buff off the rust. With the B, I've had more success putting it on and then spraying the patina on them. This is what I'm doing right now. So you add a little bit of paint, a little bit of patina, and then keep on rolling with it. And I'll do little bits at a time, just kind of get an effect of rust. There's that circle R you can see now in the sunlight. I've already put the top panel on and lasered it. And here I'll spray some blue patina, some little bit of rust, a little black magic, and go around it some more. And just keep on doing this until I get the look that I want. This part takes a little bit. I probably was doing this for a good hour. The patinas with the sprays sometimes will clog up, and I kind of want that look of that rust. And I'll go around this a few times just to kind of figure out the look that I want. And the whole idea is to kind of have that rust iron look at the end of all of it. You can see where some of the patina is a little bit darker than other areas, and that's easily fixed. What you'll do is you'll use some highlighting with the regular paint. You kind of use some paper towels, kind of rub it around, and just keep on working it until we get kind of like the look that I like. So a lot of times with that paint, I'll blot it on. So here we are, we're using Age It. It's like a liquefied that makes it look older. And with this, it kind of turns it brown and it gives it that really old look. And I basically just put it on, I'll wipe it a little bit. As the product gets older, it does get a little bit thicker. So I've had this particular Age It for a while. And we'll put it on there, kind of gives it a bronzy-ish old look to it. And again, we'll highlight this with the paint again. So I'll put this all on, make sure everything's covered. I'll use my paper towels, kind of just wipe some of it off. Add a little bit more. And just kind of work it in. Kind of work it into where you think, okay, yeah, this is what I want. The fun part of this is you can stop whenever you want. You can add more wherever you want. I'll use my hands, and so right here I'm actually adding highlights to the Age It. I want like the metal to be rubbing through type look, especially on the items that are in the actual butt itself, like the fly, the registered R. I want those to pop a little bit more, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of adding little highlights here and there. Especially the butt crack, you know, kind of liven it up a little bit. I'll use my hand a little bit here and there and just kind of make it look like it's aged. Make it look like it's old, it's worn, it's been around, it's been on a bike for 1,000 miles. So last but not least, what I'm doing here is I'm putting the tramp stamp on. And again, you saw me form this earlier, and I'm just basically riveting it into the actual mannequin. So I've pre-lasered this piece earlier, have some words on there, basically, you know, 11th annual bug run. And with that, that's where we're at. All right, so that's the end of the iron butt. And I hope you enjoyed this little documentary, or this little bit of video I made for how to make this. So trust me, this is going to make some people laugh. It'll be a good time for a trophy for a bug run, or any kind of run, poker run, poker chip run. So, all right, thanks for watching, and come on back. Later.